before we come down, down, take that big good morning stretch. Stretch your arms up, spread your fingers, inhale and do that yawning, stiffening stretch. And then let your exhale soften you just a little bit. And now come on down and we're taking it right into some windshield wipers. For our windshield wipers, if you will, get your arms into I Dream of Jeannie arms. So that nice square across the chest, legs a little bit wide, come down onto your back. And then we're going opposite directions, elbows and knees. So just windshield wiper your knees, pull your elbows a little bit from side to side. Take your time as you get that process started. And then as you get that going on, once it feels pretty good, add a little head turn in the opposite direction of your elbows. So knees and head are going to turn in the same direction. And I'm going to give Judy the laundry list. Hi, Judy. Good morning, Judy. Judy, this morning you'll need your hand weights, you need your booty band, you need your theraband, and you need a block or a Pilates ball, one or the other. All right, and we're starting low and slow, so come down when you're ready. Windshield wipers with the legs, and I Dream of Jeannie arms with the arms, elbows. Five seconds left. All right, that's time. Now we're going into opposite arm, opposite leg slides out with a pandiculation. So bent knee position, arms out at your sides, right leg, left arm, stretch out and away, do that pandiculation at the end. So that inhale, we do that little stiffening stretch, and then we bring it back in, switch sides, left leg, right arm, stretch out at the end, and then come back in. Keep that going, and that inhalation takes you into that pandiculation, that yawning, stiffening stretch. Pandiculation is stretching the fascia. So we sometimes work in the musculoskeletal system. We sometimes do stuff for the lymphatic system. We sometimes do stuff for the digestive system or circulatory system. And we sometimes do stuff for our fascial web. So this stretch that we do when we just get that nice yawn and reach and stretch, that is for our fascia to wake it up, because our fascia sends information brain body to the muscles, to the bones, and it's just like everywhere. It encompasses your whole body. It's just that web of life, if you will. So we're just stretching out the fascia, getting it ready, letting it know that some work is going to happen. All right, that's time. Now we're going to take it into leg circles, but a little subtle variation of leg circles. So send your left leg nice and long, kick your right leg up to the sky, a light little point to the toe, and then you're going to do a little spiraling circle. So for 30 seconds, and how big your circle is going to get is just going to be really up to you. Start to draw a tiny little spiral, and then you'll slowly increase the spiral circle. So you're circling out, go nice and slow so you can take your time to find that slightly bigger circle as you go. And then you got about 8 seconds left on this leg, so maybe you take it just a little bit bigger. All right, and then the biggest circle you can do to land that leg on the ground, and then switch over to the other leg. Kick it up to the sky, a light point to the toe, little baby spirals. And then we slowly increase the range of motion, but we don't go crazy. Nice job. 8 seconds left, so maybe you increase that circle a little bit. All right, that's time. Now pull that left knee into your chest. Hold on to your knee, hold on to your shin. You're going to push your knee into your hand. We're just going to practice that nice organized come up. So push your knee into your hand, sturdy knee, push. And as you push your knee into your hand, come up to a seated position. Now grab your booty band. We're going to put booty band around our thighs. So go for the booty band that feels the best here. and then work out all the little wrinkles. So we want it to be there. And then for the first one we're going to do is hip bridges. Variations for hip bridges, choose your own adventure. You might like to elevate the feet, keep the butt in a hover. You might like that more traditional shape, feet about hip width distance apart, heels nice and close to the butt. You might like that slightly wider position to work those outer thigh muscles just a touch. Maybe you also dorsiflex the feet. You're going to go for the one that you like the best today. Come down onto your block, come down onto your back. I'm going to go with my yoga block between my knees, medium setting. Heels close to the butt if you're going for that hip width distance apart. Heels will adjust as you step them wider. And then maybe everybody does that little dorsiflexion just because that's nice and it pulls on that fascia a little bit. All right, now we use our breath for the rest. You exhale, lift your butt up, and inhale as you slow return. Slightly bigger challenge. Throw your arms up in front of your chest. When we bring that focus of the breath coordination with the work, the breath for this particular one, as we exhale and we lift, that means that the exhalation is also lifting the pelvic floor. And then as we inhale, the pelvic floor is releasing. 30 seconds left. All right, that's time. Butt comes down. If you've got your block or your ball between your knees, go ahead and take it out. Now we're going to go into alternating leg taps or alternating heel taps. So legs are going to come up in reverse table. We're going to dorsiflex the feet and we're tapping our heels. For some of us, you get that nice challenge by slipping your yoga block or your Pilates ball underneath your butt. Yoga block, a little bit more sturdy, but still get that elevated position. So slightly bigger challenge. Pilates ball, a little bit wobbly, much bigger challenge. So go for the challenge that feels good. And then away we go. Take your time. Keep your feet in that slight dorsiflex position. Nice work. You're already halfway there. Now, if you had like a reduction of challenge, maybe you take it up a little bit for the next 30 seconds. If you were working in challenge position and it's starting to feel fatiguing, maybe you reduce the challenge position. So always make those little adjustments. And I've said this before, but I like to repeat it occasionally. We go for a full minute sometimes on this work. That doesn't mean you need to do a full minute of work. Sometimes it's finding your level of fatigue and then giving your body a moment to recover. All right, when you're ready, lower your legs down. If you've got any props underneath your butt, take them out. Slow return your butt to the ground. And now we're rolling off to one side. We're going to be 30 seconds side leg lifts on one side, 30 seconds on the other. So you'll just spin yourself around at the 30-second mark in a way that makes good sense. Come into your side lying position. I like the booty band on for this one. And up and down we go. Yoga block can be underneath your head to give that little bit of support. So if it feels like you need a little bit of head held support, so you keep a nice sturdy upper body, put that yoga block underneath your head. We got 5 seconds left on this side. I'm going to give Karen a couple extra seconds, but then when you're ready, we're flipping around. So flip yourself around in a way that feels right to you. I'm going to spin myself around, so I'm facing out to you. Take your time. And then once you've got that next side, adjust your band, make sure all the little wrinkles are worked out. And then 30 seconds of side leg lifts here. Nice work. 10 seconds left. And time. Beautiful. Okay, keep your band on if you can. If it gets bothersome, though, I always say you want your work to be enjoyable. So kick it off if it becomes a nuisance. But now we're going to grab our hand weight. One single hand weight will do the trick. This is going to be that laying down arm bar. So we come down into supine position. We put a little flex in the feet just so that the legs stay in that sturdy position. Left arm is going to be loaded. And when we do our arm bar, it's just punching the ceiling. So we want that whole shoulder head to lift up, but keep your head facing forward up towards the ceiling. And then we draw the shoulder head down. I'm going to go right arm just so you'll be able to see a little bit better. Punch the ceiling, shoulder head lifts, and then we return. And that's the work. 30 seconds of work. Go for the hand weight that feels the most reasonable to you here. Keep your eyes fixed on the ceiling above you. So your head's not trying to turn, just you're punching the ceiling. So just the shoulder head lifts and then slowly returns. And I'll say use your exhale for the effort. Maybe you exhale as you punch and then inhale as you return. All right, when you're ready, switch sides. Pass that hand weight over to the other hand. Make sure your legs feel nice and solid. Flex your feet, get a good grip, and then away we go. Punch the ceiling, and the shoulder head returns. Eyes stay fixed on the ceiling, head stays in a nice neutral position. Seven seconds left. All right, that's time. Take a second. Set that hand weight down. Now we're going to grab our theraband. Theraband's going to go around our feet. We're going to do a slow motion version of our Pilates 100 with legs up in the air. So you're going to put your band so that it's around your feet, and then feet are going to go up towards the sky. And then you're going to get a good amount of tension on that band. You're going to exhale, curl up. 5 pumps of the arms for an inhale. Slow motion though, if you can. 5 pumps of your arm for the exhale, slow motion if you can. And then you'll inhale to lower back down for a second, and then you'll come right back up. So it's going to be 1 minute on the clock, but within each set, so you do a 5 count inhale, 5 count exhale, and then you lower down for a second, and then you curl your way back up. Beautiful work. All right, that's time. Now we're going to keep that band around our feet. You're going to lower your legs nice and long to the end of your mat. And now we're going right into our roll up. Put a good choke on that band. Exhale, curl up. And you want to go for that 1 vertebrae at a time idea. And then as you come up, 2 little pumps of the arms down, and then tuck your bum, roll your way down nice and slow. Keep a little bit of tension on that band. Exhale, cervical nod, thoracic roll, lumbar rolls up. Little pump of the arms, and then we roll our way back down. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Slow and steady here. Blanket behind you if you like supporting the curve of your back so it feels nice and held up. Your nervous system or any pain points get that cushioning. It does not change how your muscles engage. In fact, for some of us, putting that little cushion behind us gives our muscles the space that they need so they can actually coordinate in a way that makes good sense. So we exhale, roll up, one vertebrae at a time. And at that top where we've got that nice stacked spine, we give that little pump of the arms and then roll back down. All right, that's time. Next time you're up in that seated position, come up there and stay there. And now we're going to keep that band around our feet. Hopefully you still got that booty band on, and put about 2 fist width distance of space between your legs. Keep your legs nice and cemented. We're going to do a row, but we're going to go thumbs up, thumbs out, thumbs in, so that you get that little variation of play with the arms. So thumbs up, palms are facing in, thumbs out, palms are facing up, thumbs in, elbows flare out just a little bit. So alternate between those 3 spaces. Keep that nice upright spine. Keep a good amount of tension on the band, and what variation or how you go through the 3 thumb positions doesn't matter. Just find a way that gets you there in a way that makes good sense. Thumbs out, thumbs up, thumbs in. It helps if I set the timer. Do 3 more if you can. And then once you've done 3 more, go ahead and gently release that band from around your feet. Keep your booty band on if you can, but kick it off if it's annoying you. We're flipping around. We have a plank hold for 10 seconds. So that's all you got to do is hold plank for 10 seconds. So I'll say, choose the most challenging plank that you can hold for 10 seconds. High plank. If you've got mischievous wrists, of course, take a second, get that cushioning underneath your wrists, step your legs back. Get that booty down so it's not hiked up towards the sky. Gaze is down between your thumbs, and we're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're coming down onto our belly. So slowly bring your knees down. Come all the way down. Now we're going to go opposite arm, opposite leg Supermans into our back extensions. So arms are going to come up in front of you like you're flying through the sky. Left arm, right leg lift up. Return with good control, and then switch it to the other side. And then that's the work. We've got 1 minute on the clock. Take your time as you go. Get that nice little lift and squeeze so you feel some muscles working into your back, into your butt, into the backs of your legs. Ten seconds left. All right, that's time. Now we're coming up to a kneeling lunge position. And here's where we're going to want our hand weights. So as you come up to your kneeling lunge position, 1 knee forward. Oh, see, and I thought I was going to be able to keep my band on the whole time, but now it's slipping around. So kick your band off if it's annoying in that lunge position. Keep it on if it stays well. Grab your hand weight, 1 hand weight or 2, totally up to you. We're going to do that little Turkish. Part of it is a little bit of that kneeling part of the Turkish getup, and part of it is just a hay baler. So you've got your lunge position. As you rotate down, I'm holding my hand weight sideways. As you rotate down, push your hip out, touch the ground. And then as you come up, a little rotation and toss it over your shoulder. So we push the hip out, come down to the ground, and then toss it over your shoulder with that slight bit of rotation. We've got 30 seconds one side, 30 seconds the other. Cushion your knee if your knee gets a little bit mischievous, and away we go. Push the hip out, touch the ground, and toss it over the shoulder. And then you're going to see if you can just get a nice little rhythm going on. All right, now we're going to switch to the other side. So take a second, reset up your lunge, and then give it a little practice run. Push the hip out, touch the ground, find that toss over the shoulder, cushion any parts that need it. And then when you're ready, 30 seconds on the clock, find a little rhythm. All right, that's time. Now we're going to come into just a high kneel with both knees on the ground. So high kneel, because it does put that little bit of challenge to our core work, it's a nice way to go. But for some of us, just having knees down on the ground, it's like fatiguing. So you can do this in a standing position. It'll be totally up to you. Second hand weight will come into play, or perhaps you'll use your theraband. It'll be what feels good, but we're going to go into a nice open hug fly. So a little bit of a bend in the elbows. Arms are going to come in and out. Choose a weight that feels reasonable. Keeping in mind, everybody's fatigue might look different on certain exercises. So though we set the timer for 1 whole minute, sometimes you go for 8, you take a breath, ask yourself, could I come back in to do 8 more? Or do I need to take a rest for the few seconds that are left? If you feel like you're thrusting your hips to make those weights open and close, put a little squeeze in your butt muscles and try to imagine that your hips and your thighs are cemented into the ground and all of this work is coming from the upper body. Nice work. All right, that's time. Woo, take a second, give your shoulders, they'll shoot it out, shoot it out. Clear the Etch-a-Sketch screen. All right, now we're gonna come up to standing and we're gonna be doing a little bit of single leg work. So put yourself possibly near a wall if you like that little extra bit of support, and you're gonna want your hand weights for this. So it's just gonna be single leg, 30 seconds one leg, 30 seconds the other, while we do bicep curl to overhead press. So even with that, you could just position just a toe on the ground if that feels better to give that little touch of support. And possibly you could just kickstand your foot up against the wall. So get yourself where it feels good. 30 seconds of work, single leg, bicep curl, and overhead press. Cooper's like, do you want me to help you with that? All right, when you're ready, switch your feet. Check in with your balance on this side. And then we got 30 seconds of work. Bicep curl to overhead press. Nice job. All right, that's time. Take a second, set your feet down, give your ankles that little Etch-a-Sketch shake. And now we're going to take it into, we're to go into ballet class. So we're going to go into our little pizza slice. Heels together, toes turned out. Load up at your center with the arms just a little bit away from you so that there's a challenge to your core strength. And then we're just going to bend the knees and then come back up. We try to keep our heels connected to the ground. And as we go down, you want to think lengthen up through your spine and then come back up nice and slow. We've got 1 minute on the clock, slow and steady, but if you can, add that little bit of breath coordination. Inhale as you go down and exhale as you come up. Beautiful. All right, that's time. Take a second, release your arms, kick out your legs, put your hand weights down. This is our only revved up work that we've got. This is next minute. So it's going to be 5 heel drops, jog it on the spot, 5 heel drops, jog it on the spot, your count. So it's just going to be 1 minute on the clock. We do 5 consecutive heel drops. There's your bone density work. And then you do that little bouncy recoil, count to 5, and then back to your heel drops. So your pace, your count. When we do that bone density work, we want it ugly. We want that impact in our body. We want to stimulate the sponginess of our bones. All right, that's time. Take a second, shake out anything that you need to. Now, we're going to give ourselves a little setup, and then we're going to practice a little, just sometimes we play around with different shapes of our body and then doing some work there. So go with your feet as close together as you can get them to go. And then turn your toes out. And now turn your heels out to match up with your toes. And now turn your toes out one more time. All right, now go hips back, heart comes forward. That's your start position. Load up or don't load up, that's going to be totally up to you, but you're going to squat down and then you're going to come back up and you're going to stay in that slight forward position so that your hips are a little bit back as you go. Beautiful. And then you inhale as you go down and exhale as you come up. That breath coordination is to help support the diaphragms of our center. So you want to use that breath control to help support. So you're coming down, inhale, exhale as you come up. Nice work. And then as you're going along, if you feel like your knees want to kind of collapse in, think push the knees out as you go down and then keep them out as you come back up. 5 seconds left. All right, that's time. Walk your feet back in so that they're right underneath your hips, taking it into some calf raises. First 30 seconds, go full range of motion. Come up as high as you can, go down with slow control. All right, now we're going to switch it to half calf raises, but slightly faster, but not too fast. We still want that good control. So although we're going up and down, think of this as still staying in that muscular work. So we go up and down, try not to let your ankles wobble too much. 10 seconds left. The half calf raise does put a little bit more pump to the muscles, so you're going to probably feel it pretty well. All right, 1 second left. Woo, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. All right, now we're going to go into some heel walking. So wherever you can walk, you're going to just lift up your toes and your balls of the feet, and you're going to start to take it for a walk. You can walk forward, you can walk backwards, you can walk in a little figure 8 pattern, you can walk over stuff, give yourself a little challenge, but stay safe. Walk anywhere that you want to, but keep those toes and the balls of the feet lifted. So we're working those tibialis muscles. If you have a tendency towards tender feet, stay on cushioning. If it feels good to get a little stimulation to that nice dense heel, go on some harder surfaces or play around with just the different places that you go so you get little different textures underneath your feet. 20 seconds left. And time. Woo, nice work. Okay, wiggle out your ankles, wiggle out your front of your shins. And now the last minute of work, a little bit fun. You're just going to stare at a wall. You're going to either use your yoga block or your Pilates ball. It's going to be totally up to you, but you're going to toss it up in the air and catch it. And when you toss it up in the air and catch it, ideally you want it to kind of pass over your eyes, but your eyes are going to stay fixed on a single point. So preferably not looking at the screen just because there's too much moving stuff going on. So find something that you can just stare at. Let your eyes fix on that thing. Toss your block or your ball. What tool you choose to toss is totally up to you. Just keep your eyes fixed as best you can. If you drop it, of course, then you got to adjust your eyes so you can locate your toy and pick it back up. And then if you have a tendency to want to toss with just one hand, see if you can switch and toss with your other. And time. Nicely done. All right, take a second, whatever tool you've got, and just take a couple of passes around your waist just to wake up your shoulders, your armpit, chest. Nice. And then pass it in the other direction. Now you might choose to keep your yoga block around for part 2 because we might use it to support the head in when we come down pubic bone, sternum, and then the yoga block is sometimes a nice space saver there. So grab your foam roller if you're sticking around, and we are going to start in that saddle position. So foam roller in that long setting, stepping over the foam roller and sitting our butt down onto it. So for some of us, we want the ankles cushioned because it puts your foot in a bit of a plantar flexion. For some of us, a little cushion underneath the butt because it's going to put a little space between you and the foam roller and offer a little bit of kindness. So choose your own adventure as you come down into your saddle seat. Sit your butt onto the roller. And this is like when we go into like a little bit of a child's pose, that yoga block in front of you can feel really nice because it can just support the head. So give a second just to get into your saddle seat position, and we're going to take a light little twist. So you're going to rotate to one side. Where your hands land, go where it feels comfortable. There's no right or wrong. Think just a slight rotation in your spine, and then take 3 nice big breaths. Let the breath do a little bit of work for you. When you're ready, take your rotation over to the other side. one more breath. All right, now unwind and take a second to see how you feel before we go. And then you're going to see if you can get your right hand to touch down to the ground and reach your left hand up and over so you get this lateral side stretch. And as you stretch up laterally through the fingertips, think reach your butt bone down the side of your foam roller. So you're just kind of tugging that hip down just a little bit to get a little extra space down into that low end of your side waist. Take a nice big breath. All right, and then on an in-breath, take it up and over. One side might be different. So here's one of those places where a yoga block underneath the hand brings the floor up to meet you. See if you can find a little side bend. And then once you find a little side bend, find that little anchoring point, like you're reaching your sits bones down the curve of your foam roller, and take a nice big breath. Awesome. And then come up nice and slow. And now we're going to go slight forward position. I'll suggest take your yoga block with you because we're going to go like you're into a child's pose, but then you're going to walk off one side. So you're going to take your block forward and then go into that little side bend reach. So you're slightly forward and in lateral flexion. And then take a second here to just take a few big breaths. Awesome. And then when you're ready, take it over to the other side. Take your time, take your block with you. One side lateral flexion might just look a little different than the other. So it doesn't need to be symmetrical. It just wants to feel like you get that little stretch into your left side. And then take a few slow, deep breaths. All right, and then when you're ready, come back to center. I'll say take the yoga block with, and then we're gonna rest our head on the yoga block. But if you want that little extra little tug of fascia, think about your space between your eyebrows, right? And you're going to get that skin onto the yoga block, and then you're gonna sort of tuck your chin down. So it's gonna do this little tug and drag. So get your yoga block kind of out in front of you. And then I use my hands to just sort of manipulate. Knees can widen here if that feels a little bit better. Give yourself all the space that you need. Get your low end, so kind of right where that nose meets the 11s. And then you push into that point and you drag up a little bit. And then you get a little bit of tension on your fascia. And then you're going to go like you're pulling your upper lip over your teeth. So you're going to give little pulls down of your lip. So you hold that forehead skin and connective tissue and a little bit of tension, and then your upper lip curls over your teeth. Take one more moment there. And then let that lip curling come to stillness. If you've got your forehead resting on the block, take your head and just roll it a little from side to side. All right, one more roll from side to side, and then we're gonna come up just a little bit so we can come forward. So we're just gonna come up, think tabletop position, move your yoga block forward, slide your foam roller forward. Now gonna want foam roller underneath the sternum and against the pubic bone. So we're gonna come down, but if you have tender bony points, you do want to put your blanket on so that it just gives you that soft cushioning, because you want this work to feel good and supportive, and you want your fascia to feel like it can kind of find that ease and that melting feeling so that it sends those good happy signals to your brain. All right, so find your sternum, find your pubic bone, and then put that yoga block back underneath your forehead. And then just for a moment, best you can, let your body get as heavy as possible onto the roller. Go for 2 more cycles of breath if you can. All right, now we're going to come up to a table position. As you come up to your table position, you're going to keep your foam roller in that long position. So you're going to take your right forearm, you're going to go horizontal across the roller so that the medius part of your forearm can land on the foam roller. And then you're going to see if you can free up your left hand and do that little gnocchi roll. But for this one, I'm using the heel of my hand to put that little push into the roller. So you've got your forearm onto the roller, your left hand stacks on top, and then you push, but you take a little bit more body weight with you. So as you push, you take a little bit of a shift of the hips, only if that feels good. But even as we do this work, let's say that I'm on my right arm. So my right shoulder is nice and solid. I'm not letting it get all slack and noodly. I want it firm so that the forearm and that nice little flat of fascia that's in that forearm gets that nice bit of compression. All right, now the next time you come into that slight forward, solid shoulder, now the right hand, I'm going to switch my hand just so you'll be able to see. Now the hand is going to do flexion and extension. So you've got that forward in the hips, that push of the arm, nice solid shoulder, and then the hand is just moving up and down. Flexion and extension at the wrist. Notice your breath as you go. Excellent. One more moment there, and then come back to that soft little roll just to kind of give it that little bit of feeling of ease, and that gloss and glide comes back in. And then when you're ready, come off just for a second, give it a little twirl, give it a little shimmy shake, and then we're going to take that work to the other side. So horizontal position, forearm comes on. For me, that means palm facing up. And then my right hand is going to find the forearm, and it's going to do that little push. And as I do that little push, I let my hips come along with. And then you check in for a second. You make sure that the left shoulder feels strong and sturdy. It's not feeling all noodly. You're not letting your chest kind of get sagging down towards the foam roller. All right, and now the next time you're in that slight forward and push position, now take that left wrist into flexion and extension. Beautiful. One more flexion and extension, and then come back to that light little roll and rock. Awesome. And then come all the way off and back. Take a second to release that arm and give it that little shake, 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 shake. And then once you've shaken it just enough, spin your foam roller so that it's horizontal across your mat. Swing your legs out and around so that your calf muscles can rest on the foam roller, and then take it for a little walk. Walk it up to your knee pits and walk it back down to your ankles. All right, now you're going to take the foam roller walk, but with the toes turned out. All right, now you're going to do the foam roller walk with the toes turned in. Excellent. One more with the toes turned in, and then come back to toes facing up towards the ceiling. Find that medius, thickest part of your calf muscle, and then just windshield wiper your legs. You're going to readjust the roller just so it feels like it's in that nice spot, because sometimes it kind of shimmies and moves. So get it into the thickest part of your muscles. You're going to just rotate slightly. So you're going to roll a little bit onto your left hip so that the inside of your right leg, the outside of your left leg is resting on the roller. And now your right hand's going to make a loose little fist, and you're going to tap, tap, tap up and down the IT band on the right side. Great. One more tap, tap, tap. And then when you're ready, release, and we roll over and across to the other side. So now we roll onto the other side. Position yourself so it feels comfortable enough. Let the weight of your legs rest on the roller. And now your left hand is going to make a light fist, and you're tap, tap, tapping up and down the left IT band. Think of that tap as sort of creating a vibration. So it's not like punishing. You're not just like, stop hitting yourself. It should be just a light, gentle tap. So it creates a little wiggle jiggle. Nice. Take one more moment there. And then when you're ready, release, roll back to center, move that foam roller so it comes underneath the bend of your knees. Give that little lymphatic smush, smush, smush. Lymphatic drag. So for my yoga friends, we do this, but we don't usually typically do it with the foam roller underneath. So you're going to reach towards your feet. You're going to grab your ankles and you're going to drag. So you're dragging up. You're going to drag up and over the knees. Fingers are going to drag down the sides of the thighs, up the side of your waist, up your armpits, up the back of your neck. Reach up towards the sky. Reach down towards your feet. Grab and drag. Grab around your ankles. Drag up the legs. Over the knees gently. Up the sides of your thighs, side of the waist, armpits, back of the neck, reach up and overhead. One more time, reach towards the ankles, grab and drag up the legs, up over the knees, sides of the thighs, sides of your waist, up the armpits, back of the neck, fold toward your feet, hang out there for a second, take a nice big breath. Cool. And then walk out of that fold just enough. Walk your legs in just a little bit so you can move the foam roller so it comes underneath like the thickest or middliest part of your thighs. And then I kind of hold it in place. So just wedge it in, let your legs relax out, and then give your legs a little windshield wiper action. One more moment there. And then when you're ready, we're going to pop our butt right up onto the roller. So sit your butt up onto the roller. And then once you've got your butt up onto the roller, take it into nice big rolls across the glutes. Roll over to the right and then roll over to the left. The next time you roll over to the right, stay there and take it for a nice good roll up and down. It's the tail wag. Thump, thump, thump. Oh, I love you. Thump, thump, thump. All right, take one more good roll up and down on that right side. And then when you're ready, slow roll across to the left and then roll it up and down. One more good roll up and down on the left. Come back to center just to take a second to get a little reset. Now we're going to go offside. So we're going to go slightly low at that, like think where the like low end of your bra strap is, and then we'll come up a little bit, and then we'll get into that lat muscle at the back of the armpit. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Everybody's proportions might look a little bit different, so we're going to go where it feels just about right. So come into a side lying position, get that low end onto the foam roller. And then once you got that low end onto the foam roller, little tip forward, a little tip back. All right, now before we release this low end, think big good morning stretch. You're going to take your top upper arm and you're going to reach up and over, and you're just going to let your whole body lean and stretch over the roller. And as you take an inhale, push through your palm like you're trying to get that big yawning stretch. And then exhale, softens you, come back up nice and slow. And then we move the roller up to portion number 2. And then once you got portion number 2, take it back into that forward and back rock. Lovely. One more forward and back rock, and then think same thing again. Go for that upper hand reach, yawning stretch. Take an inhale that takes you into that edge of that pandiculation. And then the exhale softens you again. You come back up, and now we move it on up one last time. Find that new spot. Back muscle at the back of the armpit is ideally where we land, and then we tip it forward and back. Before we release to the other side, we're going to hit the masseter, but slightly different from the way that we typically do. So you're going to come a little in front of the masseter, and you're going to drag up. Or so what you'll do is you'll turn your head a little bit. So you're going to land your face on the roller, the front end, and you'll turn your head so it pulls a little bit and drags, and then we'll do the kissy lips. So bring your head to the roller, but slightly chin forward, and then put your skin against the roller, turn your head so it pulls that skin towards the masseter muscle, and then hold it in that nice little trap, if you will, and then keep your lips together and smush your lips from side to side. One more smushy lips from side to side, and then slow release, come up and away, and then we're going to flip it over to the other side. I'm spinning myself around, so I'm facing out to you. You flip yourself around in a way that makes good sense. Low, medium, high, low, middle, high, however you want to think about it. Go for that low end of that bra strap. Find your comfortable enough position, and then tip forward and back. Nice. One more tip forward and back. And then when you're ready, take that top arm, reach it up and overhead. And then with the inhale, we take that yawning, reaching stretch. Exhale takes you into a little bit of softness. Come up nice and slow. Move that foam roller up to your middle spot. And then once you found that middle spot, rock it forward and back. I love when I find something interesting where I'm like, ooh, what's that sensei? Sometimes something just shows up and you go, oh, that's nice. I'm gonna play with that. All right, take one more rock forward and back. And then when you're ready, take it into that side bend position. Reach your arm up and over, get into that lateral side stretch, and then pandiculate. You inhale, you yawn, you stiffen, you stretch. And then the exhale brings you into that softness. Slowly come back up. And now we move it on up one last time. Find that muscle at the back of your armpit. Once you're there, tip yourself forward and back. I should have said it on the other side, but you might like that symmetry, so you'll just do what feels good. When we do that masseter muscle, you can adjust your arms so that they're in the most comfortable position. I just left mine up over the roller because it was there, and it didn't bother me, but do what feels good so that your shoulder feels happy. All right, take one more tip forward and back. Take that one last big good morning stretch, reach up and over, take that yawn and that reach. Let your exhale soften you, come up and out. And now we're going to go slightly in front of the masseter and we drag. So you'll put your chin or like slightly behind the chin onto the roller and then turn your head so it drags and pulls that skin just a little bit up towards the masseter. And then you've got that little bit of compression. Now close your lips and smush your lips from side to side. Excellent. One more smush of your lips. And then when you're ready, slow release. We're just going to flip it around so that the foam roller can come behind the upper back body. So get your foam roller behind you, cross strap-ish area, shoulder blade-ish area. Get that roller behind you, support your head, tuck up your ponytail, anything that feels good. And then just pick up and roll, but go for a really nice slow roll. Like how slow can you go to finish? Take one more nice slow roll. And then when it's a convenient place to land your butt, let your butt touch down, let your hands grab your thighs. So you lift up with that nice coordination. And then with your legs out in front of you, big bend in the knees, fold towards your toes, fold towards your feet. Does not matter if you can touch your feet. All you want to feel like is there's this little bit of feeling of stretched out low back. And then once you feel that little bit of feeling of stretched out low back, you're going to look for a way that you could pandiculate your butt muscle. So you're going to inhale and take like a yawn through that low back best you can. It's use your imagination just a little bit. So take an inhale and imagine you're trying to breathe and stretch your low back with your breath. And then the exhale takes you into that little bit of softness. One more breath with that idea of pandiculation where you yawn, you stiffen, you stretch. And then one last exhale to soften. And then when you're ready, slowly come up and away. Give your shoulders that little shoop. Give your legs that little bop and the wiggle. Come up slowly to a standing position. And then as you come up, just do that last little etch-a-sketch shake. So you just kind of give everything that nice little lymphatic shake. And hopefully here, your whole body feels gummy and alive and wonderful all the way out to the edges. You guys are amazing. Happy. And he's like, okay, let's go.